I don't even know what to say about this story, if you could even call it that. But then again, maybe I do have a lot to say after thinking about it for quite some time. It's been a couple days. But if this is becoming the norm, we are in some very, very dark times. Good evening, demons and demonesses. Kwame Khan here. I know you guys, like I said, haven't seen me in a while. In the process of building things back up. I said, been working a lot lately. But this actually popped up on my news feed, and lots of people are talking about it. And it's very shocking and kind of tells a lot. Now, just recently, a video was released showing a woman by the name of Shiloh Hendrix. She went to take her kids to the park, and I guess another kid that was also at the park had touched her purse or a bag that she was carrying. And, you know, instead of acting like a responsible adult saying, hey, you know, that doesn't belong to you, or hey, is it, what's wrong? Is there something you need? Or hey, can you please give me my purse back? She decides to do the unthinkable. Now, Shiloh isn't like most people. When she saw this kid touching the purse, she decides to call this little kid the N-word. But the story doesn't end there, it gets a lot more deeper. Apparently, the guy that was filming this incident at the playground, technically he wasn't supposed to be at the playground anyway because he's a registered... You know what. The guy's a goof. But I have a video for you guys. Let's go check all this shit out.
Call him a child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him a... Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay. Alright, that's what you say. Nobody dig into you. That little kid, you call him a... Yeah. The little child? What if he acts like one, he's gonna... Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a
Now, the version I played for you is beeped out, but you can clearly tell that she really said the word. And not the way that the rappers and stuff are using it. She didn't even say it with the A. She said it with the hard ER at the end of it. Now, that should tell you something. The fact that we are living in a time where people feel comfortable to start using that word again is very, very disturbing. You know, I remember growing up in a time where, you know, if you would use a word like that, you know, you'd be cancelled, they'd fire you from your job, you know, no one would want to be associated with you, and you know, rightfully so. Because, you know, like this, be honest with you, you know, that's a really disgusting word. I mean, why would anyone want to use something like that in the year 2025? I mean, with the way people are acting, you'd think we've, you know, went back to 1955. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. She sets up one of those it's not GoFundMe. I think it's called Give, Send, Go. This is the same site that's hosting the Carmelo Anthony fundraiser. Well, she put up for, I think originally her goal was $200,000. She reached that goal. Then she upped it up to $300,000, reached that goal. Then, believe it or not, she now has raised over $500,000. And reading the comments on these, on the donation page, I think it's kind of obvious why. Lots of people that are just as disturbed as she is, writing those exact same comments and also using dog whistles. You had this one lad who donated $1,488. Now that might go over a lot of people's heads, and I don't want to explain it on the show because it could get me demonetized. Well, I'm not really monetized anyway, but it can get my video banned, and I'm tired of having my videos banned. But if you guys don't understand the reference, go on Google and type in the numbers 1488, and you can. I'm pretty sure you guys can put the pieces together there. But those are the type of people that are supporting her, and with how fast she was able to raise this much money, that goes to show you how many people are out there. Now, also, this could also be, as blowback for the whole Carmelo Anthony situation. Now, I haven't done a video on that, and the reason why is because, there's just been so much conflicting information. Now, when the judge makes their final decision on that case, then I will speak about it. But from what I understand, and this is from what I was able to read and what witnesses have said and what the family has said, that technically was not really a racial situation between Carmelo and Austin Metcalf. Austin Metcalf never said anything racist towards Carmelo Anthony, and Carmelo Anthony never said anything racist towards Austin Metcalf. But I think people are just trying to make that a race issue because, Austin was, the white kid and Carmelo was the black kid. But either way, a kid is dead, a family is grieving. Now, one of the things that I want to point out, and this is about the whole Carmelo and the whole blowback situation. If this was truly blowback for the whole Carmelo Anthony situation, wouldn't they have just given that money to Austin Metcalf's family? Like I said, his family is grieving. His father is crying. Don't you think that the father and the family of Austin Metcalf deserves that money? But instead, they're like, nope, let's give it to the person that calls the black kid the N-word. But this also kind of makes me think, maybe there's more to this story as it is. And believe me, there is. See, someone had pointed out that almost 14 years ago, the woman in this video, Shiloh Hendrix, was engaged to a black man at one point in her life. Here's the photo of that. So you're telling me that you slept and almost married a black man, and this is how you think? I don't know who this brother is in that photo, but good for him. He just dodged a bullet because who knows, he might have been the next whatever that guy's name is, Telvin Osborne. I should have done a video on that lad, but I'll probably speak about that later. But that also goes to show you, just because, someone dates or sleeps with someone who's black, doesn't mean that excuses them for racism. We hear it all the time. Whenever someone, gets accused of saying something racist or gets caught saying something racist, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, oh, well, my friend is black, or, oh, I have a friend and he's Hispanic, and blah, blah, blah. Every racist has at least one black friend. Remember Dylan Roof? He had several, and none of them knew how he truly felt. Now, to move on about the guy that recorded this video, his name was Sharmeko Beryl Omer. I know I'm mispronouncing it. I honestly have no idea how to even read his name, so I apologize for butchering it. But many years ago, Omar was involved in a criminal case involving the assault of a 16-year-old. Now, the charges in that case were dropped, and really nothing came out of it. However, even so, once you've been accused of something like that, it's hard to, get away, even if you are innocent. So I don't know the reason why it was dropped. I don't know if it was because of lack of evidence. I don't know because evidence was mishandled. But either way, he was at this park. Now there's been also more conflicting of reports about this. Some say that he had children that were at the park. Some say that, he was just there by himself, which is kind of weird. Because, why would you be hanging around a park if you don't have kids that go there? And apparently the kid that, was called this word wasn't even his kid. Well, at least that's what these reports are telling me. But here's what I have to say about this. Maybe this whole thing is a setup. I mean, there's been many times where people set up these profiles on these, GoFundMe type websites, and they just run out the back door with all the money. There was a case that happened here in New Jersey. You had this family that sees a homeless person. They ran out of gas. The homeless person gives them his last $20. They set up a GoFundMe to try and give money to the homeless person, and the people that set up the GoFundMe ended up stealing all of that money, and the homeless person didn't get anything at all. Apparently they used that money to, gamble and, use drugs and alcohol and all that other crap, and they were criminally charged for that. Remember, a couple years before that, you had a woman that set up a GoFundMe claiming that, she was a Trump supporter and her parents kicked her out of the house because they didn't like the fact that she voted for Donald Trump. And instead, she used that money to pay off her college tuition, and it turns out she wasn't a Trump supporter at all. She just bought a red hat, and everyone just assumed that because, she was a black woman and she supported Trump, that she was part of Black MAGA, and she wasn't even part of Black MAGA. So, and we already know how, a lot of these right-wing, religious conservatives feel about a black person that, is willing to become a token for their own bigotry. So they just played themselves. Now, this could be a situation similar to like that. You have this guy was in like a case, was in like a criminal case. He probably met with Shiloh. They probably agreed to do some shit, and they're like, all right, well, I want you to say the N-word with a hard R. We're going to play on everybody's, stupidity. And then they get a bunch of racist rednecks to give them thousands of dollars. And then who knows? Maybe it's like I said, Shiloh is currently in hiding right now. So she's probably living in some small town in the backwoods somewhere where no one can find him, sitting on stacks of bread that all the racist white people give her, and she's probably laughing about it. So who knows? But either way, the fact that so many people were willing to send her all of that money, and the fact that there's so many people online defending her, to my brothers and sisters out there that are watching this, stay frosty. They're out here. Because, this is how they truly feel. And, that's one of the things that this administration has pointed out to me. There's a lot of disgusting people out here in this country. That, we go to work with them, we ride the bus with them, we shake hands with them every day, and we never know how they truly feel. And now, because of this administration, they're letting it all hang out. They got nothing to hide anymore.
There's a mom, Shiloh Hendrix, going viral on the internet right now. She told a kid who, by the way, when you actually look at the picture, the kid is like pretty decent sized child. He was rummaging through her bag and stealing her children's, toys or whatever out of her bag. She tells him to fuck off, essentially, which when you look at the video, the guy filming the video, he's a Somali, Hassan, whatever. He's a pedophile, actually. He's going to court in a little bit for raping an underage girl after offering her a place to stay. So that's your great people. And this is just like, this is whites having enough of it. We're sick of being bullied in our own country. You have this guy, he's not even from here. He's got a fucking accent. He's a convicted pedophile in a playground in a park. So what are you doing there anyway? He's swarming the streets, and now he's trying to get her life ruined. He's like, oh, this is hate speech. There will be consequences. I'm sorry. This is America. You have free speech in this country. So go and support her. She's got like a Gifts and Go up. But this is great. This is white people finally being fed up with this shit. And the fact that we have brown people trying to take away white people's rights in a white country when we have the Constitution and freedom of speech, and they come from their shit countries where you can be locked up for hate speech. This is just disgusting. This is everything wrong with immigrants. This is everything wrong with brown people in our fucking country, and this is why we need to kick them all out. Because they not only come to our country and rape our children, but they also come to our country and try to impose their third world religion and their third world laws on us. This is white people's country. This is a white country for white people. These people are not welcome, and I'm glad to see people are finally standing up. So stand with her, and everybody's trying to, shit on her and spin the narrative and ruin her life. But if you can give some to her, because W mom of the year, and show some hate. to him as well.
You know, that's, like I said, it's scary, but, you know, I'm glad that they're exposing themselves, because now I know exactly who not to associate with and who to avoid. Like I said, things are, it's only been like the first 100 days, and things are going to get a lot worse. We have a long fucking ride. It's going to be 4 long years. So my advice to anyone out there, I never thought I'd be saying this, but if I had a passport and if I had, you know, the money available, this is going to sound weird. I apologize. This is going to sound so fucking weird. I'd go back to Africa. Only problem is I don't know what part of Africa is going to accept a guy like me. As you can see, I'm a fucking Satanist. You really think a guy like me is going to fit in Africa? They'd kill me. So I got to just stick here and tough it out for the next 4 years. Like I said, if you have the ability to, and if you feel like your life is in danger, move. Get out. Like the movie. Get out. Just get out. Just worry about the safety of yourself and the safety of your family, because we're going to have some dark days up ahead. Alright, that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Like I said, you gotta stay safe, stay metal, hail Satan, and keep your eyes open and stay frosty out there. Peace.